Okay, we have got a character profile for you coming up now. Not a classic character profile or a classic profile revisited, but I wouldn't. It's not exactly a current character profile, is it? We're going to be talking about Sharif this week, who no longer with us on Coronation Street after his shock departure from the Cobbles this week. Well, shock for the residents, I suppose, but maybe not for us. Vital statistics of Sharif. We never actually find out how old he was supposed to be or when his birthday was, but we do know that he married Yasmeen in 1971, had a son called Cal and grandchildren Zidane and Alia Nazir. He first made an appearance on the 24th of February 2014 and mysteriously disappeared on the 4th of November 2016 after 165 episodes on the show, and he is played by Mark Anwar. So we will.
Before we go any further, do
Yeah.
you think it's possible that in the distant future, Sharif could return with a different actor? Because I do.
Yeah, I
that would
don't
be
see why
quite
not. I don't see why not, to be honest, because I mean, 165 episodes, like 10 years down the line. I mean, why not? It's the same as what's his face, isn't it? Jason's dad. What's his name?
Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll look forward to that because whatever I think about Mark Anwar and his comments that have got him sacked, I didn't mind the character of Sharif that much.
I quite liked Sharif and I quite liked Mark's portrayal of him.
Yeah.
But as you say, we can't
rights to be gone.
We can't really endorse people being racist on Twitter. Just
no.
Not good.
No, but I kind of went back and forth between liking him and not liking because he was kind of bland, wasn't he? But sometimes just how
he wasn't bland. He was hilarious and quirky because he had chickens.
Sometimes I just kind of liked how he watched in
chickens?
bemusement as everything went around him. I'm sure we'll get over the fact that he's not going to be on Coronation Street anymore. But like I guess I wouldn't be sad if he came back if he was played by a different actor, of course. Now, we were talking about his leaving, but let's remind our dear listeners of the casting of Sharif, which was announced on 14th of January 2014. Around that time, there was some big publicity around Coronation Street's first Muslim family, and it was quite
sorely. What's the word?
Needed.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was going to say.
Apparently, 1 in 6 residents of Manchester is Muslim, so the fact that there had never been a Muslim family on Coronation Street.
How many
barely
other
any characters? Probably. I don't even know how many characters there weren't even part of families.
How many other characters are there now on Coronation Street? And there are now only like 4 Muslim characters left.
Yeah, they're getting rid of them, aren't they?
But I don't know whether Rana is. I don't think Rana's religiously Muslim, but she's culturally.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Cal had already been in the show since November 2013, and they announced Mark Anwar's casting first with the rest of the Nazirs a bit later on, and apparently show bosses consulted experts all over all aspects of Muslims' lifestyle, culture and religion to make sure that they would be well represented on the street. And
what does that mean?
Well, I think it means let's make a list of words that non-Muslim viewers might not have really understood or heard of before,
just
and make sure we try and drop them into conversation over the next few years. They've certainly done a good job of that. No, I think they've done a fair job of portraying Islam. You can tell that they've done the research, haven't they? In that it gets mentioned sometimes tokenistically, but at least they're having a go.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're like I keep saying over and over again, it's a minefield because they've got so many problems that they could stumble upon here.
Yeah. In
the pursuit of story.
Because it's better that they give it a go than just avoid mentioning it at all.
I mean, they have already done storylines that you couldn't have done with any other family, which I think is a really good. On the one hand, when you have a character representing a group like this, and it's the only characters you've got. On the one hand, it's progressive to have them have storylines just like everyone else. Don't treat them any differently because at the end of the day, we all have the same life experiences, right? But on the other hand, it's progressive to have them tackle things that other people won't go through because they have got a unique set of circumstances that not everyone shares. So
yeah, exactly. I think
they've done a good balance of having both of those things, and it's interesting to see the fallout with Sharif's affair and how much, especially Yasmeen and Zidane, are so concerned with family honour, which I don't think you would have so much. We've never really seen a family have an affair come out like this, and they spend so much time worrying about honour and what other people are going to think of them. I know people have been like, oh, this is so embarrassing, I'm never going to be able to look so-and-so in the face again, that kind of stuff. But they are genuinely bothered, not just by his betrayal, but by the way they're going to be perceived by other people.
Yeah.
And, like, their moral standing has been damaged by it.
Yeah.
Which I assume is stemming from their religious outlook.
I think you're right. So Anwar had been on Emmerdale before Coronation Street playing a doctor, Dr. Ajit Devgan, and I don't know anything about that character, but there's a little factoid for you there. And Stuart Blackburn, producer at the time, when he was cast, was talking about Cal, and he said, "We've already cast his dad, Sharif, who is retired. He's not rich, but he's made enough money he doesn't need to work. You can imagine that he's had some health problems, and his wife has just told him, 'You're not going to work for 12 hours a day anymore, you blithering idiot.'" So, as always, how much do we think that this actually is reflected in the character?
What a bizarrely vague description of somebody.
I think they kind of, maybe he didn't have a huge idea, but it kind of fits, doesn't it? I mean,
his health problems never cropped up.
No, I know that.
Never really knew. You always kind of imagine that he's a lot wealthier than the rest of the street. You only have to look at just the inside of the Nazir's house to see that they are obviously supposed to have a higher standard of living than everyone else because they've got such nice interior decorating.
Yeah, and they've been able to kind of rustle up cash when they've needed to for things like the Orangery or everything.
Yes, the Orangery.
But I don't think we know a huge amount about Sharif's background before. I mean, I think he had a textile factory. But I mean, that was mentioned.
Another one of these great northern textile
Yeah, I know.
factories.
It's the hub of worldwide knicker manufacturing, I guess. Yeah, he had a textile factory, but it wasn't really mentioned much after he joined. Like you said, his health problems haven't been mentioned at all. But I can imagine Yasmeen saying, "You're not going to work for 12 hours a day anymore, you blithering idiot," can't you?
Well, I can't imagine him listening to her.
Whatever, dear.
I'm more interested in Yasmeen's background myself, to be honest.
Oh, I know. I'd really
why
like
has
to
she
see
never
more.
really had a job?
Community centre.
Why can't you get rich?
Me?
Yes.
Why, so you can be like Yasmeen?
I can just swan about with a scarf over my shoulder.
Is she your idol? That's who you aspire to be?
I don't want to be a woman who's...
Been cheated on.
Yeah.
But you do want to have an orangery and some chickens.
But I mean, if I wasn't married to you and I had a husband and then he buggered off and left me with like a massive house and everything...
Could be worse.
Well, no, because I don't know him, do I? Because it's just a figment of my imagination. So I wouldn't mind if that happened.
Oh, okay.
Then we can move in together and you can come and live with me and we can both live off the proceeds.
Wouldn't that be nice? Right, let's have a reminisce. This is all stuff that happened pretty much during the podcast, wasn't it? Because we predate Sharif, apart from these first few bits. In 1971, married Yasmeen, son Cal is born sometime after, and I think it seemed pretty soon after because we couldn't really work out how old Cal was supposed to be either.
We literally don't precede Sharif's story because we weren't even born.
Not in 1971, we weren't, no. You know what we mean. 2009, he started this affair with Yasmeen's friend Sonia, and he has been having this affair ever since. I thought it might be quite fun as we're going through his little history to think, what was Sonia doing at this point? So 2012, that was when Jamila died, and he had to obviously support Cal during that. Maybe he had to go to Sonia for a bit of advice about that one.
Well,
maybe.
She said, remember when we were talking earlier and we were saying that Yasmeen was upset that he was crying on her shoulder.
Yeah. Well, that was when Cal died, wasn't it? This is when Jamila's died, so I guess it was the same kind of thing. So 2014 February-ish, I think it was when he arrived in Weatherfield to give financial help to Cal because he was kind of rich-ish, I suppose. So Cal was setting up the Victoria Court gym at that point.
So-
He needed a backer. Cal had been previously sacked from Sharif's textile factory for sweeping too slowly.
This is exactly the same kind of story arc that Aidan had.
Go on.
Comes to the street, pretending to be a business guy, and then has to get bailed out by his dad, who is a much more successful and richer guy.
Yeah,
Is it not the same thing?
Quite similar, yeah. That is
Because
true.
Aidan comes in to invest in the
Factory.
factory. It turns out he's stolen his.
it,
Yeah, and then you have Cal, who did doing the same thing.
Well, he doesn't want to. There's no underhand kind of thievery from
No, of course
from Cal,
not.
was there? But he just needed his dad's help for this, and he didn't really like the idea of having to bring Sharif in because he thought he'd take over the whole thing and he'd want to boss
Well, yeah,
everyone
it's the
around,
same
which
thing
he
with
kind of did.
Aidan And
Yeah. Well,
those two.
Sharif, when he came in, was a lot harder, I think.
Oh
a
yeah,
bit
this
more
is
of
what
a-
I mean. The dynamic between Cal and Sharif and Aidan and Johnny is the same. Because Cal's like, no, let me get on with it, and then Sharif's like, oh no, I know more than you do. I'm gonna sort it out for you. You're actually not that clever at it. Is it not the same? I think it's the same relationship.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then in both
I think the relationship.
examples, they both evolved into something different, but they both had a similar genesis.
Yeah, but I get the idea with Aidan and Johnny that they were closer, but Johnny was just peed off that Aidan pinched some of his money, whereas Cal was more respectful of his father, but also a bit more fearful of him as well, and he really didn't want him to be any more involved in his life. But he had no choice because he wanted to set up this gym, and Sharif did come in and he did start taking over. He sacked Jason Grimshaw, who was supposed to be doing up the gym because he knew a cheaper builder, and he was like saying friendship shouldn't get in the way of business, and Jason ended up doing it anyway. But yeah, Sharif was not particularly somebody to be liked when he came in. He as many of these characters did mellow out over the
He was
years.
very pompous.
Yeah, and he didn't ever fully lose that, did he? But he did get a little bit more kind of.
His edges got knocked off.
Yeah.
I mean, his corners.
Yeah, he became a bit more of a typical Corrie browbeaten husband with like wife's the one wearing the trousers.
Get him under the thumb.
So they set up the gym. Sharif was the manager there, and also that year he had a little storyline with the cricket against the Flying Horse, which we mentioned a few weeks ago when we did our sport feature discussion. Sport, not sports. So Deb and Sharif were arguing over who should be captain, and in the end, Alia got the job. He also got chickens for Christmas. Was it? I think it was Alia that got him those chickens for Christmas. I can't remember now. Do you? I'm sure it was one of the family members.
History of chickens.
I think Alia got them for him for
We're
some
going to have to do a
reason.
character profile for chickens.
On the chickens. Well, it depends whether they have any good storylines and with affairs.
They've already had
and
some great
murders and
storylines.
stuff. Well, they'll probably might maybe just merge in with this. I think we'll kill two chickens with one stoner. So this cricket match on the side, I assume that I can imagine Sonia there on the benches, kind of wrapped up in a shawl or something, secretly going, "Go Rivers, go! He's my man. Don't tell anyone." And did you ever go to the gym, Sonia? Maybe not, but you never know. 2015, Gemma, chickens. This is when the rather
This was so
silly
stupid.
story of Sharif's chickens took up a couple of weeks in like January, February 2015. Go on, what happened?
Well, he got obsessed because the chickens were not laying eggs, and really, a chicken that doesn't lay eggs is a pointless beast indeed.
Unless it's a rooster, but these were not.
Yeah, but a chicken isn't a rooster.
Okay, I didn't want to say
A
cock
hen.
because that could be a rude one.
So who was it? It was Cal that started doing this, sneaking around, buying eggs and
It was Cal and Z, wasn't it?
planting them around and pretending that the chickens had laid them.
Because Sharif was getting really upset about the fact that these chickens weren't doing anything.
And then
he
when he finally got the eggs, he was rubbing it in everyone's face, going, "Oh, these eggs could cost you so and so amount of money."
Yeah.
I don't know where he got eggs that didn't have the lion
Oh,
logo.
it was a local market. It was a farmer's market.
Yeah,
so.
well, whatever.
And Simon got involved with that as well, didn't he? Because it was because of Simon that Z and Cal were caught out. But I did enjoy it, and this is kind of one of the first times that I remember seeing a bit more of the the funnier side of Sharif was when he then started saying he made Zidane and Cal read out poetry to the chickens as a kind of revenge to make them look stupid for their little egg planting trick.
I wonder what kind of poetry
I
they
don't
read.
know.
Turns out that the chickens all along were laying their eggs next door in Sally's bush.
Yeah. Was it Sally's bush? Was it Gal? Yeah, it was. It was Sally's, wasn't it?
Well, she was moaning about them. I would have just kept them. Kept my mouth shut. 3 eggs, yes, thank you.
Mark and Moore obviously quite enjoyed the outdoor stories this year, because this was when he also
By
had
this
his
year,
little
you mean 2015?
Yes, that year he had his allotment storyline, and it wasn't a fake allotment.
You know
he was
why
saying,
he's got his allotment, don't you?
What, so he can have Rumpy Pumpy with Sonia in the shed?
Little shed love.
That's why he was so
nest.
desperate, because he was fighting with Roy over who was going to get this allotment, wasn't
Yeah,
he? And
he didn't wanna share it.
he went and charmed the pants off of the allotment lady, and then he had to share this allotment, but probably he wanted to have it as a secret getaway for Sonia, but no. Well, maybe he did when Roy wasn't there. This is
I
how.
don't imagine Sonia's the sort of woman who would be happy in a shed.
Maybe she'd go anywhere she could because of old Tariq at home.
Oh yeah.
Desperate times calls for
guy.
bonking in sheds.
Poor maybe. Do you think that Tariq will ever come in the show and go off with Yasmeen? That would be cool.
Yeah, I doubt it. I think it's going to be kind of quickly finished.
Yasmeen could have a relationship.
Yeah, but I
All right, fine. I was just thinking.
I don't know.
Just thinking out loud.
No, that's okay. You're allowed to think. I just don't think. I'm not expecting to see Tariq. This is when Kathy came in as well, wasn't she? Because she had the allotment next door to theirs, and Roy and Sharif were kind of at loggerheads over who owned which bit of the allotment, and don't you plant this here? This is my patch of the allotment. Sharif, I think, threw something of Roy's over the edge into Kathy's allotment, and then this is how they kind of got in touch, because she was looking after, because it was Alan's her late husband's allotment, wasn't it, that she'd kind of let overgrow, and they were, Roy and Sharif, I think, were plotting a little bit to take over the plot from her, and in the end she didn't like that, and Roy helped her to tidy things up, and that's where this blossoming romance came from. This is, I assume, when Sharif then had to go and find some other little love nest for him and Sonia. Tragedy, Gemma. May 2015-ish, the Victoria Court fire. Sharif's only son, Cal, caught up in the blaze because old Leanne wouldn't get off the ladder.
Bloody Leanne, get out of the bloody way.
And yeah, so like Yasmeen, Sharif struggled to cope with this, obviously. He even collapsed at the gym at one point and had to be kept in hospital overnight. And if you don't remember that, it's because I think it was over and done with one episode, from what I can see from going back through the old notes again. He also had to try and dissuade Yasmeen from seeking revenge on Tracy, because she was very kind of over the top upset. Not saying that she's not allowed to be or anything, but she was quite vocally, I must have my revenge on Tracy, my son, my beautiful son. But Sharif was like, look, we can't bring him back. Kind of quite pragmatic about it.
I was annoyed by that, because really I feel like that whole storyline never went anywhere.
She has kind of got away with it, hasn't she?
She totally has got away with it, and also
she has got form for getting away with her.
Do you remember when it happened? And who was it? Sinead made a massive deal about giving the candle to Carla and banging on about this candle being a symbol for whatever. And then that was the thing that actually set the fire, and nobody ever mentioned it to Sinead. Do you remember I was saying, this is going to be...
I thought that Sinead felt a little bit guilty with it.
I don't remember that anything ever happened.
There probably wasn't that much of a focus on it.
Because we span out so many ideas in our head about, this will happen and that will happen, and then nothing happened because Tracy just got away with it.
Kind of forgotten about it. This was the patch where...
Now, what's her face? Carla's not in it anymore.
Yeah, she's got free reign. They did have that little cliff top fracas, didn't they, Carla and Tracy, and that was kind of all partly over her guilt about being responsible for Cal's death. But looking at her now, I think she's not holding on to that guilt anymore. We got to see Sharif's more moralistic side come out late 2015, which was when Alia slept with Jason. I think it might have been just after Kel died, actually, and it was kind of in her grief and everything, but it wasn't until later on in the year that it came out, and Sharif was absolutely disgusted by his daughter's low morals and even lower knickers.
Absolutely terrible woman.
Yes, he would never do anything like that. Except he actually is at the same time.
He thinks he protests too much.
It's kind of a shame we didn't see more. We didn't have the chance to see more of Alia and Sharif talking about that, and her saying, "Oh, hang on a minute.
Well,
look at how you treated me, and you've been doing it."
It did get mentioned, but I always feel like people's noses should need to be rubbed more in it, and I feel the only time people's noses really get rubbed in something is when they're a good character that I like, and people will not shut up harping on about something that most of them have done themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when Alia did sleep with that guy, no one would shut up about it, would they? But somehow Sharif just gets a rap on the knuckles and buggers off to wherever he's gone.
Newcastle. I know what you mean. It'd be interesting to have seen like what Sharif and Sonia, what the conversations between those two were, and what was like the scenes of I'm saying this to my daughter and treating her like this, but really I'm no better than she was, and
Sonia going, "Oh no, Sharif,
never mind, Sharif, come back to bed."
Situation.
That takes us to the end of last year, and then this year he agreed to have an orangery installed to keep Yasmeen happy, and this is kind of where he was by the end. He's gone from shrewd, no nonsense, business comes first salary man to just somebody who keeps his wife happy in 2016, apart from the whole having an affair with somebody.
I feel like if you're going to have an affair and cheat on your wife, the least you can do is buy her an orangery.
Oh yeah, she should be grateful, really.
No, she shouldn't be grateful. It's the least that she is owed.
Well, if it wasn't for this orangery, then he maybe wouldn't have been caught, because remember, she was out in the orangery when she heard.
That's true, he forgot he even had it.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody home? No, nobody in the main house bit. We don't really have an upstairs.
Don't have any other bits, so let's just talk freely.
He enjoyed... Oh, look, I've written the word trump here. Trumping Sally's conservatory. I don't mean farting Sally's conservatory, of course. He got a bit security conscious at the gym as well this year, didn't he? He thought that people were doing drugs there, and it turned out it was Gary. And then a few months ago we had him celebrate his 45th wedding anniversary with Yasmeen, promising her a trip around Europe, which I...
Did they go on that?
I don't think they did, although we have had a few weeks with the Nazirs not appearing, but I kind of get the idea that Yasmeen is still owed a European tour.
Banged on about it, did they? So he obviously just does what you do and say, let's go there here, and then never goes there.
I think the European tourism is kind of is having a bit of a bad luck with the Weatherfield residents, because wasn't Ken supposed to be going on a tour around Europe recently as well? And no, it's like that time a few months ago when they were all supposed to go off to Liverpool, and actually nobody went there. Just stay in Weatherfield; it's the best place for them.
Can't get out anyway because of the ring road.
Exactly. Well, Sonia, this was the first time we actually saw her on screen. She arrived at the party, not as a party guest, but because her husband Tariq had kicked her out because he had found out about them, hadn't he? Or was he just
found out about the affair, but
suspected?
she didn't say
Who it was.
She lied. No, she lied to everyone except... I thought she only told Sharif this.
I can't remember. I don't know. But anyway, she ends up then staying at number 6 for a while. We don't get to see a whole lot of it because this is when they were reducing Mark's screen time.
What's his face? Very discreet about all this.
Yeah, you would have thought that somebody like this would be marching round. I suppose he's just like washed his hands of her, really. We had the blackmail storyline recently with Alia because she wanted that money to buy a knicker stitching machine. He pinches the money from the gym account to do so, and now the affair has been exposed. And that, so far, unless he does come back, is the end of Sharif Nazir. So that's his short time on the street, but kind of liked him, but I'm not gutted that he's gone.
Well, I think he was like my second favourite Nazir. Because I didn't...
Yasmeen first, obviously.
Yeah, Yasmeen always first.
Yeah. I think I would probably say the same, although Zidane has been rapidly going up in my
No, I don't like
favour.
him again. He's so self-righteous.
he has
with
been
all
a bit
this.
with
Oh well, I'm never speaking to my sister or my granddad again. What? Your family is supposed to be your family no matter what. Like, you can't pick your family.
Yeah,
but you can't pick your family. You can't just disown them. It doesn't work like that.
He's not as bad as when Izzy says, "I'm never going to talk to you ever again." Though, is he? That just comes off as whiny.
Little goldfish. Next week she's coming back.
Yeah. What do you think about the amount that Sharif has been on screen in the past 6 weeks? Because when the affair was revealed back in August, was it? It was still kind of patchy, his appearances since then, and I do wonder how much was filmed and then cut out in the past 6 weeks.
Yeah, I know, but I don't feel like it's unnatural.
No,
I think they got away with if they did change things. I feel like they got away with it.
Yeah, I think it's been fine.
I think it's so silly, all the people that have criticised Coronation Street for having him on it at all.
Yeah, there was. I mean, the episode after the whole Twitter thing came out with Mark, that was when he actually appeared more than he'd ever appeared before. But they kind of had to for that story. I think having a too late rewrite would have been impossible. And and last week's one as well. People were.
I mean, it's so tricky. But he didn't murder anybody. He just offended people. He really, really offended people. But he didn't do anything illegal.
No, I mean, he could be next president of America.
Don't even go there. But people need to stop acting like being offended gives them the right to bully people. That's what I feel like it's like at the moment. Online, social media, if you say the wrong thing and so people get the wrong end of the stick, you get bullied until your life is ruined. And I'm not saying that people don't deserve to be punished, but I do think that there are laws in this country against hate crimes and things like that, and if he didn't do anything illegal, I think it should just be left like that. You don't have to love and like everybody, you don't have to agree with everybody all the time. That's the thing that people don't seem to get. You don't have to agree with what people think. And allowing them to do their job isn't a sort of a tacit agreement with their politics.
Or hounding people on Twitter isn't the...
Yeah, people are so quick to like you and me, us and them. Me versus you. I hate everyone who doesn't believe what I believe. That's why we got where we are with all the stuff that's happening in politics now. People just in their own little bubble, and if somebody comes along and says something different, that's it. No, you can't say that. Rah rah rah.
It was wrong what he said, but
of course it was wrong.
But
I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree with them firing him. But what I am saying is, people that were complaining that he was in the show, I feel like a tenuous grasp on reality and blowing things out of proportion.
I think he was in it just enough. He needed, last Friday's episode, he needed to be in it that much.
Yeah, he had to. Why ruin a TV show storyline? Because of one guy.
Idiotic thing that he's had online.
Yeah, one thing that one guy, a series of stupid things that he said and he apologised for. But let's not lose our heads over these kind of things, and let's just say, look, I don't agree with it, you shouldn't have said it, let's move on.
And it worked a lot better than when they got rid of Tommy, didn't it? It played out a lot better on screen, because when he went, he was in a couple of scenes, and then and you were kind of led to believe he was just off screen or something at some points, and then he just disappeared for no particular reason. It's just quite a happy coincidence, I suppose, that his departure has come at this particular moment where it's kind of fit.
It would be quite funny if they sort of just dispensed with all of the what's the word I'm thinking of? All of the like the sneaky manipulation of reality, and just came out boldly said it. Like, where's Sharif gone? Oh, it turns out he was a massive racist, so we wouldn't let him back in. We kicked him off the street. That is literally what happened.
I think that would have been a bit too close to the bone, but maybe entertaining.
It would have worked with Tommy though, wouldn't it? Where's Tommy gone? Turns out he was a misogynistic pig. So
yeah, we found his YouTube channel.
We drove him out of the street, and he'll never come back.
So poor old Yasmeen, eh? What do you think what's for her now?
Do you think that like they must have all been called in?
Who?
All the Corrie stars after this thing with Twitter, and gone, we'll get rid of you if you do this, just so you know. There's not one of you here.
You have to do it as a warning to everyone else. You can't let people get away with saying
There's
that
not a
kind of
single
stuff.
person on the show that they would be allowed to get away with anything even half as bad as what he did.
No.
And think about what happened to Jack P. Shepherd when he weed on the Emmerdale sign as a joke, and that was
He's hardly been on Twitter since.
Exactly.
I miss him on Twitter.
It's so stupid. Can we not just all chill out? Being offended is not going to kill you. I get offended by people all the time. I don't persecute them until they lose their job.
Yeah, but I still think that it was right for him to be sacked.
Yeah, there's a difference though between sort of punishing somebody and then just moving on and going, that's the end of that. You've been punished, that's the end of that. We don't have to like erase his, like, get a photo of him, like scribble out the eyes and salt the earth where he was standing.
Yeah. Do you think that it's going to take long for Yasmeen to get over it? I mean, she was out for revenge, wasn't she? I think that she's going to go through a period of
moping,
disbelief and moping and everything, but I think she's going to come out the other side fighting.
I hope
that's
she
what
bounces
she's like.
back really quickly, because the last year, like we've just spoken very briefly about, since Cal's died, Yasmeen has been very much under a cloud. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why people like her a bit more than they used to, because she was always very kind of extrovert.
Yeah.
But now she's kind of retreated into
Toned
her
down
shell.
a little bit, yeah. She's just nice as a nice, caring, wise kind of person, isn't she?
I would really like her now to say, you know what, all these years I've been doing X, Y, and Z because Sharif wanted this, so I'm going to do what I want now.
That would be a really interesting direction. I mean, she did seem to be the one that wore the trousers a bit, but I think the money was from him, and I'd like to see her come out of her shell a little bit.
Here's an interesting point. There's always been a cloud over their marriage because her family didn't approve of Sharif when they got married, remember?
Yeah.
And there was always a kind of insinuation that Yasmeen's family was kind of this highbrow, kind of aristocratic money family, and he was some kind of undesirable for some reason that we never really found out. Maybe he had always been a bit of a weird player when he was a kid, and her family was trying to warn her, and maybe Sonia was not the first that he ever had an affair with, because let's face it, they were only ever discussing him being unfaithful with Sonia.
Well, they can say and make up what they want about him now, can't they?
Yeah, but wouldn't it be great now if we meet the rest of Yasmeen's family?
Came out of the woodwork. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see other women come out of the woodwork, but I would love to have more of Yasmeen's family, because the Nazirs have shrunk, haven't they? I mean, they've been sliced in half already, and we like the Nazirs, and I know it's not popular to say that among Coronation Street fans, all Coronation Street fans, but I don't want them to just gradually drip out, and we're left with Alia, Zidane, and Yasmeen, and if like Yasmeen goes because it's felt that she's not needed anymore, it'd be a crying shame. So maybe bringing in some family members or other friends, or like you say, have her start a new life and meet some new friends and get out of that house, out of that community centre, would be interesting direction for her.
I think it would be cool if they brought her family in and they were all like, oh Yasmeen, we always warned you, that's Sharif, and you find out a bit more about her background, and maybe her family are a bit snobby.
There's still a lot of untapped potential.
Loads of it, especially
in Yasmeen's family.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
like to see it. It seems
I
like she's
don't
kind of rattling
necessarily-
around on her own in that house now, isn't she?
yeah.
And Zidane
Only
does
'cause
live
haven't
there,
they?
but for how long? I mean, if he's going to get married with Rana, they're not going to stay living there, are they? Alia's out on her
Kicked
ear
out.
at the moment. I don't think Yasmeen can have that house on her own. It seems almost it's like
she's
Norris
gonna
with number 3 on
encounter
his
money
own.
troubles now.
Yeah, exactly. So, or maybe it'll be a good change. It's a shame because like we said, the interior decoration is nice. At number 6, it's one of my favourites, isn't it? But I don't want her to leave, but
no. Anyway, I don't want. You mentioned earlier about other women who've had affairs with Sharif, and I don't think that they should go there. I'm not interested in that at all. That's not what I meant when I said.
okay.
I was talking about her past, Sharif's past. I simply meant that her family would come and say, you know, Sharif had always had
told you
affairs.
so.
We told you at the time, and you wouldn't believe us. And now you haven't spoken to us for all these years. Let's put it all behind us. Let's just, you know, and maybe she's got sisters or cousins or aunts. Or
we don't know if she's got any alive
her mum. It would be
relatives
funny
at all.
if she had like a curmudgeonly old mum.
Ah, yes.
Like great grandma Nazir.
That would be amazing.
Or
I'd love to have
whatever
an
her
old
surname
great.
would be.
Yeah, it's not Nazir.
Like
is
a
it?
Blanche.
Yeah, a Blanche figure, but from I don't know, a Muslim background. That would
Brilliant.
Could be quite interesting to see that. Another chance to bring in a proper old battle axe, because Yasmeen isn't ancient, is she? I mean, how old's Shelley King? 60 or so? I can't remember. So she could still have a mum on the scene. And then sort of make up whatever reason for why she's never mentioned, or
Just an
because they had
aunt
the
or
falling out.
something. You can have an aunt that's younger, can't you? Like
Yeah.
10 years younger than your mum.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that Kate Oates has been thinking long and hard about what the heck are we going to do now. Although I forgot that we haven't said that Mark Anwar's contract was going to be up, and he was going to be leaving this autumn anyway. So I assume they had some kind of plan for what next for Yasmeen and the kids.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I mean, it's different from Tommy Duckworth's situation in that Sharif was always going to go.
It was just going to be closer to Christmas.
And it was also, I imagine there was going to be more
fallout from the affair.
Because they said that they'd already filmed all of his scenes when he was fired.
Well, yeah.
So it was going to come out nearer Christmas.
No,
So
the affair wasn't going to come out. The affair was going to come out now, but it was going to the storyline was going to play out, and the ramifications of the affair and nicking things.
I would love to know all of these alternate universe
the stories that never
Coronation Street
came to be.
Never mind.
Never know, will we? Right, I think that is it for Sharif today. May his name be never mentioned again. I don't know whether we'll cope with that or not, but there we go. End of Sharif, and we're going to go on now.
What did you think of Sharif, everybody? Tell us.
Yes, we've got a bit of a soft spot for him, but let us know what you think.